Hello, investors. It's Don Vandenbord, Chief Investment Officer with Revere Asset Management. Today is Monday, October 13th, 5:21 p.m. Eastern Time, coming to you from St. Augustine Beach, Florida, with tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. Today, the market, we're in a short-term pullback after the big sell-off last Friday on uh, Trump China trade tensions. Don't say that fast three times. But big rebound today. So we get multiple closes back above the 21-day moving average. That market state will come off of pullback and back to uptrend. Check the trend gauge over here. We do have a mixed bag. Leaders green, but with the yellow sub arrow. A couple fell by the wayside and couldn't reclaim the 21 from last week. And short term, we've got the green arrow because of a reclaim by a surprising reclaim. I was discussing this Friday with the team, I really didn't see a situation where we would have this green arrow on for short term, but that's why we insist on two closes below a key moving average before making a change. So we're staying green there with the yellow sub arrow, but mid caps and the equal weight S&P are below the 21-day moving average, also below the 50-day moving average, as you can see them there listed in red. But so we still got the four green arrows, but obviously with the sell-off and rebound today, need to get a few more cards out of the deck to see what the market actually wants to do. Meaning, was this just a reflexive rebound after a hard sell off, or are we actually going to take advantage of the most bullish period in the calendar, that being the fourth quarter? So, what happened today? As I said, the rebound over the weekend. Trump's quote was, "Don't worry about China." Basically, kind of saying there was a misunderstanding. Maybe there was, maybe there wasn't, but we go by price action here, both to the upside and the downside. Here are the numbers. Big moves by leading stocks. 21 over 21 up, an average of 6.05%. 19 up, one neutral, one down. The Turbo 12 up an average of 9.3%. 11 up, one down. The Big 8 up about 2%. The RG8 up 2.5%, led by the IBD 50 up almost 4%. S&P 500 gapped up 1.15%, went sideways for a little while, made a new high, and based in the afternoon, nice numbers. Didn't really threaten after the gap up, to where what we had seen recently was a lot of these gaps were sold off in the morning and then recovered in the afternoon, but really not a lot of heat today after the 1.15% opening gap, leading to a 1.56% up day. Equal weight, not as strong, still up a percent though. NASDAQ 100 gapped up 1.7, closed up 2.12. Equal weight, also weaker, up 1.57%. Dow up 1.3, mid caps up almost 2%. Small caps up 2.8%. Global 60/40 up a percent. Our flagship GROTECTION portfolio up 2.28%, and TurboTection up 2.65%. Reminder, please like, share, and subscribe our social media, especially click like on YouTube. We would appreciate that. So let's get into it. Here's the S&P 500. You can see that big ugly bar from Friday, and the much nicer reclaim bar about halfway up, still below the declining 8-day moving average. It's hard to see there. That is the thin purple line here. But we'll be monitoring the 21 and the 50 going forward for the rest of the week. That'll be our keys. We'll talk about that when we get to the tail of the tape. Let's look at the equal weight S&P though, and this continues to underperform. Rallied up, but just into the 50-day moving average before failing to go any higher today. So we'll want to see if this can reclaim that level. Relative strength continues to be just awful, going all the way back to April compared to the market cap weighted S&P 500. NASDAQ 100 Ugly Candle Friday, reclaim of the 21-day moving average today, however, and you can see going back to April how the relative strength has been positive on the Nasdaq 100, which you would expect to see the complete opposite of the equal weight, and it's because of all the heavy weights in these big tech names. Let's go to the Dow. The Dow into the declining 21-day moving average is holding the 50-day moving average right at that 46,000 level. Mid caps, the S&P 400 bounced into the 50-day moving average. See if we can reclaim that. Also, relative weakness all the way back to December on the mid cap index. Russell 2000, you can see the undercut in the 21 and the reclaim of the 21 didn't touch the 50-day moving average and is actually back above the 8 EMA. You can see from the relative strength line here that this has been the leading index going back to the beginning of August. So trying to reclaim that baton in today's action. So those are the major indexes. Let's go to some inter-asset correlation, and we'll start off with the VIX, which had a over 30% move up on Friday, back below the 200-day moving average with a 12.1% pullback today and a 19 handle, much better there. 19 and a half is the long-term average for the VIX. Let's take a look at the US dollar. After really a breakout of the most recent range last Thursday, which coincided with a big sell-off in gold and silver stocks, and people were talking about that move higher in gold and silver was over. Pullback on Friday, and gold and silver showed relative strength. Move up, a slight move up in the dollar today, but you'll see how gold and silver fared right now, and they fared very well. There's a gap up to all new time highs on GLD, GDX gold stocks, also a new high, up 4.7%. And silver gap to a all-time high as well, up 4%. And let's also talk about copper. This is had a good day today after a harsh sell-off on Friday, reclaiming basically all of that sell-off, up 4.4%. Let's go to crypto, which got hammered on Friday. IBIT still down today, but undercut and reclaimed the 50-day moving average on the daily chart. Ethereum broke the 21 and the 50-day moving average. Inside day today, still below those two, despite the 6.6% bounce higher. Let's go to bonds now. Bonds, really not a whole lot to talk about today. Mild move up in the overall bond index ETF TLT. I'm sorry, BND, as well as the long bond TLT. Rates mostly unchanged on the 10-year and the 30-year. That's our inter-asset correlation. Let's hit the tail of the tape and go right down to the news. We already mentioned de-escalating the China trade tensions was really the story of the day today, and really also the fact that the gap up stuck. So was it just a misunderstanding? Was it just a sell-off after a big, strong move higher? I know the Bears were happy on Friday. They're not so happy now after that rebound. Keys coming into today, we were all keying on the 50-day moving average. We held that easily on the S&P, the Nasdaq 100, and the Russell 2000. Day count from down one to up one, still 2 days below the 8-day moving average on the S&P 500, and day count is basically zero and flat against the 21-day moving average as the S&P closed right on it. Sectors today, 9 out of 11 of the spider sectors up, led by semiconductors and tech, gold and silver stock, oils, copper, uranium, and quantum stocks strong. To the downside, staples and healthcare, XLP and XLV. Trades, 3 offensive sells on GROTECTION. We trimmed our BE position, which gapped up 30% on a new partnership. trimmed our MP position, gapped up on this China trade news, and NBIS, which was extended as well. 1.18 volatility adjusted beta, 5.08% balance at risk. Protection also trimmed MP, 1.16 volatility adjusted beta, 3.44% balance at risk. So the bottom line on the day, strong rebound after Trump de-escalates on China trade. Keys going into Tuesday will be the S&P, the NASDAQ 100, and the Russell against their 21 and 50-day moving averages. That's the tail of the tape. Let's get into some charts, and we will start off with it's Monday. That means you get the new lists that we use. And here is the Turbo 12. We've actually got two overlaps on here. Bloom Energy, there's the big gap up, ended up 26.5%, slightly off the highs, 124% above average volume. For a move that big, would normally expect volume to be slightly bigger, but did not. So that was one of the reasons why we did some offensive trimming into that in GROTECTION. Ion Q, nice bounce back to highs after this bounce off the 21-day moving average. SanDisk bounced off the 8-day, up 15% today. New Scale Power. Okay, SanDisk is a new entry into here as well. And so is SMR. It's forming a pretty decent base above the 21 and 50-day moving averages. METC just continues to be a beast. This is a rare earth stock as well, although it shows it's in the coal industry. They had a big discovery of rare earths on one of their mines. Symbotic, also a new entry, tight for about the last week, looking good there, slightly above its pivot. Soundhound, consolidating nicely over the last week. herein, inside day after a big negative reversal on Friday. Southern Copper rebounded after Thursday and Friday sell-off. Pan American Silver gapping above 40 and closing at a new high. Carmen Holdings, a new high, and Tempest AR pulled back but held the 8-day exponential moving average. Now the 21 over 21 for the week. And we'll start off with everything that we own. Those are flagged with the green flag. Start off with Hood pulling back, holding the 21-day moving average. Tesla closed below the 21, regained it today. DoorDash closed below the 21, regained it today. Nebius inside day today after the negative reversal on Friday. Did some offensive trimming there as well. CoreWeave holding the 8 EMA after a negative reversal at the 150 level on Friday. Snowflake bouncing and holding the 8-day moving average. Nice tight flat base forming there since its gap up on earnings. NVIDIA holding the 8 EMA. It did hold the 21 on Friday. MP, nice move higher, offensive trimming here as well. Palantir are just barely holding on to the 21-day moving average. Bloom Energy, we already discussed. Ion Q, already discussed. So here are the rest of the, in other words, not owned 21 over 21. GDX, we already looked at this chart. What a champ. First Solar. Pulled back Friday, tried to make a move, gave most of that up today, slightly positive on the day. Micron regaining the 8-day moving average. LEU now a close above 400, also just a beast. MDB holding on to the 21-day moving average. Cloudflare closed below the 21 Friday, regained it today. Burrito closed below the 21, regained it today. Arista Networks, this is holding on to the 21. Keeping an eye on this, though. It was down on above average volume on a negative note that came out about a partnership that may be threatening some of its clients. So keep an eye on that against the 21. You can see how nicely it's held it over the last 2 months. VEV, nice volume, regaining the moving averages, is in a nice tight flat base. And that was added this week, as was CrowdStrike, right at the pivot of a nice cup and handle after trying to get above it, Um, Tested the 7 to 8% loss level, but CrowdStrike looking good, relative strength picking up lately as well. That's your 21 over 21 and your Turbo 12 list. Let's take a look at a few more that really had some double digit gains today as revenge of the leaders, you could call it. Oklo. It's a nuke stock. Nukes were strong today, up 16%. ARM Holdings, semiconductor, gave up quite a bit on Friday after coming into the top of the base, gained it all back today, up over 11%. Taiwan Semi and ASML report this week. We'll be keeping an eye on those to see their impact on the overall sector. IonQ, BE, and MP up double digits. We talked about that. LEU also up double digits today, up 10%. Uh, did show that already. And let's see. I think that's going to wrap it. Yes, it will. As always, I'd like to hear from you. The email's don@revereasset.com. The phone's 855 Real Wealth. That's 855 732 5932. If you're interested in becoming a client, click the contact us button on our website, revereasset.com, or email my partner, Dan Stewart, dan@revereasset.com. Our flagship portfolio, GROTECTION, and its more aggressive cousin portfolio run by Ted and Connor, TurboTection, designed to do two things: grow assets during uptrends, protect them during downtrends. We got stopped on a few things on Friday. No problem at all. That's part of the process. That's why we present our balance at risk totals every day when we do the videos. That represents what we would draw down in the portfolios if all stops were hit in short order. And nobody else does that, by the way. And if you're interested in this approach, by all means, reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you. And that'll wrap it for Monday, October 13th. This is Don Vandenbord with Revere Asset Management, telling it like it is. Thanks for listening and have a great day.